Yes, hope all of us are doing great. My name is Ernest, and this Ernest is Sciences and Mathematics TV channel. Before we proceed, I'd kindly like to request our members to subscribe and also engage us in the comment section for more. Now, in this case, I'm going to look at the concept of arithmetic mean. And basically, in this particular video, we're going to look specifically at the concept of grouped data. In our first video, I basically mentioned that we have various types of measures of central tendency. And in this case, I had mentioned the concept of the mean, the mode, median, and the quantiles, whereby I said that the mean can be divided into three basic groups. That is the arithmetic, geometric, and harmonic mean in that particular case. Now, in our discussion today, I'm going to look at arithmetic mean of grouped data. And of course, that is going to give us a clue on how we can evaluate the concept of a mean in case we come across such a type of or a set of data. Now, I've mentioned that the choice of a method of finding these specific averages is going to depend on the application. Now, in this case, we're going to look at the concept of classes that I mentioned in my previous video, and also, of course, the concept of frequency distribution, which, of course, is being given in terms of a summary form of this specific table. Now, from our last discussion, I basically said that we can find the mean using this specific formula, and I've given this a specific notation for representing the arithmetic mean, or the mean generally in that particular case, whereby I've said that it is going to be the ratio between the summation of the product of fi xi from I is equivalent to 1 to k, all over the summation from I is equivalent to 1 to k over fi. And I mentioned that basically our numerator is going to represent n, whereby n represents a number of items. And this upper part, of course, the numerator is going to represent the product between fi and xi, which is the product of this specific column for frequency, and of course this representation for the class, which I'm going to mention. Of course, I talked about the concept of a class mark, and I'm basically going to mention it in a summary form in this particular discussion. So therefore, it's going to be the product between the two. And this fourth column is going to give us the product of the second and the third, of course, which is going to assist us evaluate the numerator in this particular case. Now, for the case of n, we are going to see that this is going to be a summation of the frequencies. And of course, in this case, since I've given it in tabular form, then therefore, we're going just to use that one as our example. Now, in this case, I mentioned that in case we have a class given in this particular case, we can find what we call the class mark by finding the average between, so I'm going to use the first class, the average between the upper and the lower class limit of that specific distribution. So this is going to be 6 plus 10 over 2, which is basically going to be 8. So our class mark in this case is going to be 8. And the third column is going to consist of the class marks of specific classes which have been given in this particular order. And therefore, the product between the specific frequency and the class mark is going to give us the one which we have given the other side. So in this case, from our general illustration of this formula that I've given for the mean, this is going to be, let me just quote it here, fi xi all over the summation fi given as such. So I said that basically for us to find the product or the summation of these specific frequencies, we are going to add all the values which are contained in that particular column. And this is going to be, now from the evaluation, you can confirm the totals for this. So this is going to be 100. And then we're going to have the summation of xi given as 1575 or 1575. And those two, of course, are going to represent these values for a numerator, which is 1575, and our denominator, which is 100 for n in that particular case. So therefore, we're going to evaluate and find our mean, in this case being represented as 15.75. And of course, that's how we're going to treat data from a frequency distribution given in this case. Now, more often in our problem set, we're going to come across a range of data which has been given perhaps from the lowest value to the highest value, and it will be incumbent upon us to find the number of classes which are said that basically we're going to we can use Sturge's formula to find the number of classes, whereby of course n represents the number of observations. Now in this case, of course, we're going to do a roundup of this specific value in case if it's a decimal place. It has some decimal places, and of course that's going to give us the number of classes given in this particular case. Therefore, we're going to do a consideration of this specific formula, of course, in order for us to find this. Now, in case if we were to consider this specific formula which we have been given, we can do a substitution of these particular values for the value of k, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes. So we're going to find the range of values between 1 to 6 classes for our data given as such, and that's going to give us the value of 15.75. Now in this case, the value of xi represents the class mark of ith class as I had mentioned, and of course the frequency of the ith class is going to be represented using fi given as such. So basically this is going to be the general way of us trying to treat grouped data, by first putting that one in terms of classes and then giving the various frequencies, and of course finding the class mark using the average between the two upper and the lower class limit, and then we're going to find the product between the fi and the xi, and the summations of those of course are going to be applied in the general formula for finding the mean, and that's how we can evaluate the mean of a grouped data using that specific procedure. So in this case, I hope that we have understood that specific formula, and of course the specific application which we have given in terms of an example, and we're going to apply it appropriately in case we come across them in our specific problem set. So that is it for now, guys. Bye, God bless you. Catch us in our next video.